Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages, from Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977, it's Shenanigans Statesman of the Statesman. And now, here is the proprietor and president of the Shenanigans and the elder statesman of Rant and Rave podcast, Mr. Eric M. Lima. Thank you very much, Mr. Announcer, sir. Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans, 1977, episode 2429 of the show, and this is episode 25 of Shenanigans Statements of the Statesman, where at the end of every month, I will give my thoughts on the month that is, and that was, and we move on to a new month. As you go, every last day of the month, I do this as tradition, and even though I have other videos left to do this month, I figured, give my thoughts. It's like my thought, almost like Jerry Springer's final thoughts. God rest Jerry Springer. So, it's 2:30 p.m. July the 31st, 2025. How are you? And I hope you guys are having a wonderful, blessed day. It's supposed to be a little bit rainy out there, but it's not doing anything yet, per se, but it's also cooled down. In fact, tomorrow's supposed to be the coolest day of all. The first day of August is going to be 66 degrees. That's the high is going to be. So I can imagine what it's going to be like. It's going to be a little frosty. I don't know. But a little air-conditioning type weather wouldn't hurt. So, let's talk about July 2025, what the month that was. I gotta tell you, when I coming into this month, I had a lot of questions about it. Whether or not how it's gonna be, how it's gonna go, and everything else in between. You hear when you read about, see, and hear what's going on in today's news as far as politics and all concerned, you're very concerned. And like in the back of my brain, I'm thinking, hey, I'm worried, but to me, my attitude is now's not the time to get worried. Try to look forward, take one day at a time, and see what happens. So July usually is my favorite month of the summer, because you have all the cookouts, you had the cookouts, pool parties, and all sorts of stuff. And unfortunately, I did not see fireworks again this year, because July 4th fell on a... What happened was, you usually go off July 4th, but the company that made the fireworks for New Bedford decided to do it on July 3rd, and unfortunately, that was the time of Rant and Rave. I couldn't attend the fireworks, so because of Rant and Rave and all that, because we had a very important episode that was before episode 300, and all that good stuff. So, but I did go to a friend's house after church for the first Sunday of July for water baptism and a good swim in the pool, which I haven't done last year in a long time, and just very, very thankful I got a chance to do it this year. Take a nice dip in the pool and just nice swim and have a good time with friends and family and such. So I get really excited. So I thought, I was very, very happy about it, and and very satisfied. But then you got the Whale City Festival came up, and I gotta tell you, the Whale City Festival was really, the crazy part about this year's Whale City Festival, because we had wrestling events going on, I was unable to attend most of the live reactions because of me going to the festival, or I came in later, or at the main event, or something like that. So we all got that going. Wrestling events were great. There were 5 wrestling events. Like I mentioned in the Roadside Shenanigans episodes that I did, we had one incident, and it all started due to somebody need to clean the wax out of their ears once in a while, And I'll tell you what happened. Okay, it was a Saturday show, and I believe they had two wrestling shows. They had one early Saturday afternoon, the other one late afternoon into evening. In the afternoon show, I believe somebody retained their title. One of the wrestlers retained their title. And some kids there was a couple of kids, probably in their double digits, probably 12, 13, some young teenagers, threw a water ball at one of the wrestlers. Now, me being an old school wrestling fan and plus attending to these events, wrestling events at the YMCA Festival over the years since 1999, they always tell us, do not throw anything at the wrestlers, do not hit them or anything like that, or you'll be asked to leave. And that's been like that since I started going to the YMCA Festival by myself. Well, one of the wrestling fans who also attended these events, like myself, had this kind of experience, so to speak, where you're told don't throw something at the wrestlers or else you asked to leave. My friend, who became my new friend, Jessica, she told the two kids they have to leave or security's coming after them. Well, on the other side, another wrestling fan heard what she said and took it the wrong way. As if, oh, ICE is coming, because she thought in her mind, oh, she must have talked to them about ICE. And, ICE. And she starts dissing the wrestling organization, New England Ring Gladiators, started dissing them on Facebook and all. And I think the next show, before the next show started, there was an argument going on between my friend, who was trying to explain herself that she told the two kids, she told the two kids they have to leave or else they'll be escorted out. They had to be ejected from the event. And the other girl, I think it was a goth girl, talking smack to my friend Jessica, and she said, "Oh, Purchase Street's going back." So they were going back and forth. And finally, the goth girl and her friend that was there were asked to leave. I think they were talking smack, and then I think they were both posting something. And one of the wrestlers who was in charge, his wife was, videoing the wrestling matches for the social media and stuff. And one of the fans decided to throw a drink, throw water at her, splash water, full bottle of water, open water. She went after the girl, but both girls left. I think that's how I heard and how I interpreted it. It's because one person because somebody the goth girl needs to clean the wax out of her ears. When you throw stuff at wrestlers, you get ejected from the event and not to come back. And if you do that, that's going to damage reputation. And so we're not supposed to throw, even if they're heels. I boo and I cheer and then I say some funny things and heckle them a little bit. Just because listen, even the wrestlers, they say things back to me. I used to chant, when I chant BMT, Burger King. Burger King gets in my face, goes, he points at me, he goes, the last thing I want to hear from you is Burger King. I'm like, so what? I'm like, ooh, I'm shaking, like, I did the Scott Hall thing, ooh, and, like, I'm shaking, but I know, they know I'm having fun, and that's all that matters, but I don't throw stuff, I don't do any of that crap, but, whatever, it's that, you don't moral of the whole thing is don't throw things at wrestlers. And just have fun, don't get escorted out. And just, if you want to have a good time watching wrestling and have live wrestling, have some fun, have fun. Cheer and boo, heckle them. I don't do anything personal. I just, oh, you resemble this person and all that. I told the BMT, he said, hey, look at you, Santos Escobar wannabe. He's like, I'm not Spanish. I know, but you got to cut that. If you don't want to look like Santos Escobar, cut that. Next time I see him, you don't want to look like Santos Escobar, cut that hair of yours. I was going to say, cut that hair, you look doofy. I was going to chant, doofy haircut. Get a haircut. Or do something fun, It's simple, Listen, people made fun of me my whole life. Come on now. So, anyways, yeah. So, I think the fan that berated NRG on Facebook and all that. Should clean the wax out of her ears next time. I would have said, hey, yo, clean the wax out of. She said they had to leave because they were throwing stuff at the wrestlers. You don't do that at events. It's like, do you get that? You know, ICE is not going to come after them. You know, come on. Seriously? It's a wrestling event. It's a festival. Unless somebody does something really stupid, then that's a different story. Because we had issues about that already. People just don't use their brains and don't clean the wax out of their ears properly. You know, clean the wax out of your ears. I say that all the time. Gosh dang it. Anyways, but despite that, everything else went off without a hitch. It was a great time. We had title changes. You know, we had a great time. I hope they play again at the Portuguese Feast this year. I want to try and check and see if they do. If they don't, it's okay. I had my wrestling fun. I get to chop a couple of wrestlers though. That was a lot of fun. You know, they're like, hold him. Hey, I'm holding him. Get him. I had a lot of fun with that. So that, and I think you saw that on one of my videos. So I had a great time. You know, filming those false count anywhere matches and no disqualification. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with that. So it was totally super cool. You know. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. So I'm totally stoked. Let's see. What else? Oh, you know, I gotta talk about the celebrity deaths. That's a big deal. Before that, Rant and Rave 300 went without a hitch. It was successful. We had a good time. We interviewed. We had a great time. Well, we ended up interviewing Demolition on the next episode, and then we did our Headbanger Mosh interview. We taped that. As you know, I took a week off last week of Rant and Rave. I'll be back tonight, along with William Braun, and we're going to do SummerSlam predictions and all that. And it was really cool talking to Demolition, because Demolition, you know, one of my favorite tag teams in the 80s, and, you know, it was really, really cool. We talked a little bit about Crush and all that, and how Barry Darso decided to have the Repo Man gimmick. I didn't know he was a real life Repo Man. That was crazy in itself. I was like, but Barry Darso, he wanted to choose to make the character funny. I was like, you want to make Repo Man funny? It'll make it look like a Hamburglar made out with a Lone Ranger or something like that, and their freak DNA's got mixed up in a freak science lab, you know? But anyways, no, he had fun with that character. I think he was just having fun. Nothing like this. Big tough guy's going to take your stick and take that. And I was like, and I told him about one of the dream matches I would like to see them against the Nasty Boys. To come out, they faced the Nasty Boys a couple of years ago. Right now, Brian Knobbs is not doing very well, with what I'm told, what I've seen online, especially on Instagram. Keep Nasty Boy Brian Knobbs in your prayers. I'm sure he's probably mentally not feeling too good after what just happened. Talk about the celebrity deaths. Malcolm Jamal Warner, I gotta tell you, died way too young, much too soon. He was part of a show that had a humongous impact in the culture of TV and in pop culture as well, and social culture as well. The Cosby Show. And I would say that if it had not been for Bill Cosby, getting called out and all these allegations and stuff, I think the Cosby Show would have been aired today, and the newest generation of folks would learn and know and understand how much of an impact that show has made in TV pop culture, And Malcolm Jamal Warner also did Malcolm and Eddie, and the man was a legend, man. He 54 years old. That's way too young to pass on, and just I don't know. It was really sad. He was vacationing with his family, went swimming, and he ended up drowning, but he ended up saving his daughter, which is, Shad Gaspard and Malcolm Jamal Warner, God rest both of their souls. You talk about true fathers of the year, these two would be. Because they sacrificed their lives for their kids. I mean, how? It's sad. I wish it would be still alive today. I wish God would reward them for, say, hey, bring them back, reward them, because they sacrificed their lives for their kids. Bring them back alive. It's much respect to those two gentlemen. Seriously, it's sad. And then you got Ozzy Osbourne. Now, I'm not a big fan of heavy metal. I'm not much of a metal dude. More of an 80s rock, pop type guy. That's me. But Ozzy Osbourne loved what he did. People maybe say, he bit a bat's head off or something like that. He did a lot of crazy stuff, but there was some weird pictures with him with short hair, if you believe that. He had short hair, his wife, his kids, and I'm like, wow. And then you took him and then you gave him a reality show, which is even hilarious because he always yells "Sharon," and they had to censor him swearing like every 5 seconds, And then my favorite line is when he sits down with his kids and he's, just relaxing. He goes, "I love you all very much. I love you all, maha, but you're all bleeping mods." I'm not going to say the word. He said the F word, but hey, he was a funny dude. He always greets people. He's got a smile on his face. Hi, and every time I speak to him, he's always smiling. Always has a lot of fun. And this was he died 2 weeks after he performed his last performance with Black Sabbath and all that. And just I was like, hey, he went out the way he wanted to go. He retired, and got respect. Got respect. And also, he did play a part in the Rock and Wrestling Connection. If you think about it, at WrestleMania 2, he was a co-manager with Captain Lou Albano when they led the British Bulldogs, Davey Boy Smith and the Dynamite Kid, to the Tag Team Championships against the former champs, the Dream Team of Greg the Hammer Valentine and Brutus Beefcake, managed by the illustrious Johnny V. That's even crazier in itself, And then him and his wife Sharon co-hosted as guest general managers of Monday Night Raw, which is a lot of fun. And my favorite moment of that is when Chris Master did the crazy train with the pecs, and he goes, "Buy that man a bra." It was hilarious. Sharon loved it. Obviously, the women love it. Come on now. That's Chris Masters, the masterpiece. I'm gonna say so. Yeah. So I thought that was Ozzy loved doing what he did. He rocked on, and he was funny, and gonna miss him. Gonna miss his personality. That guy, if I had met him, I'd be like, "Ozzy, how you doing, man?" And I said, "I know you when you managed the British Bulldogs, and if I was wearing, I would wear the British Bulldog shirt just to honor him. It's my man, David Boy Smith. That'd be really cool. That would have been really cool. Like, we like wrestling, it was really cool. I respect him for that. But then you got the biggest death of all, Hulk Hogan. Where can I begin with this one? I addressed it a few times, and just, a lot of controversial stuff was said. A lot of people some were celebrating his death in a very disrespectful way, but I'd rather, celebrate his life, about who Hulk Hogan, what he meant to the wrestling industry. And a lot of folks in the younger generation are still bitter about what he said 10 years ago and all that good stuff. You seem to forget what this man has done for professional wrestling. If you're a wrestling fan or a wrestler, you would know that if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan, and I'm going to say this time and time again, if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan, there would be no World Wrestling Federation. There would be no other wrestling organizations coming out of that, per se. You got WCW, you got ECW, you got TNA, and then you got WWE splitting up the 3 brands: Raw, SmackDown, you got NXT, you got AEW in 2019. You got all these organizations, and NWA may have and the Memphis territories may have started wrestling. I mean, you think about it, the catalyst for the whole wrestling celebrity connection. You date back to the mid-late 70s when Andy Kaufman and Jerry the King Lawler went at it. And then the 80s, you had Cyndi Lauper and Captain Lou Albano after Cyndi Lauper invited Captain Lou to play her father in the Girls Just Want to Have Fun videos, and then it snowballed from there. And then all of a sudden, when you get Hulk Hogan, who just won the world title from the Iron Sheik January 23rd, 1984, and then you got one of the most notorious villains in wrestling in Roddy Piper. You put those two together, combustible elements, all of a sudden now wrestling is at the forefront. Hulk Hogan's on lunchboxes, T-shirts, video games, like this one. Like these two video games here. Steel Cage, WrestleMania Steel Cage Challenge, and the original WrestleMania. I mean, you think about it. And you got Hulk Hogan, you got Sid Justice, Roddy Piper, Jake the Snake Roberts, IRS, The Mountie, Bret the Hitman Hart, and you got The Undertaker. I mean, and games like this, and you got the WrestleMania Challenge, and just it's all over the place, What else? Oh, wait a minute, you got the King of the Ring. Hulk Hogan's in this one too. King of the Ring. King of the Ring. You got Shawn Michaels, Perfect, Savage, Undertaker, Yoko, Razor, Lex Luger, Bam Bam. Look at all the wrestlers that still. Now the only one still alive nowadays is Luger, Undertaker, and the Hitman, and Shawn Michaels. All others are done. And give me a second here. You know what? That's it. I mean, let's see. I look at Savage, Hogan, Hart, Mountie, Undertaker, IRS, DiBiase, Sid Justice, Roddy Piper, Jake Snake Roberts. The only ones left on this one that are still alive, you got to go with the Hitman, the Mountie, Undertaker, and IRS, Ted DiBiase, and Jake the Snake, still alive. And then you got the other ones left, still alive, $1 Million Man and Honky Tonk Man. I mean, we wouldn't see games like this. I heard LJN's making a comeback with figures, for goodness sakes. It's insane, It's totally insane. Hogan's been everywhere, Movies. He did an episode of the A-Team. He was a guest star in a Love Boat, for goodness sakes. I mean, it's very, very surprisingly how people easily forget what Hogan has done for the wrestling business. Oh, let's focus on, people say, forget the past and everything else. Listen, there is a saying that those who refuse to learn from their past are doomed to repeat it. Those who refuse to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Learn. I'll be honest. I'll be totally gosh darn honest with you. I've always wanted to go back to the 80s. Trust me. You think I like what's going on here today? Heck no. But I decided not to complain. I decided, what I'm going to do my best. I'm going to use wisdom. Use wisdom and kind of move on. Don't say anything that could get me into trouble. Just be respectful and move on. It's a little on the crazy side, man, But, be that as it may, Hulk Hogan's death was kind of a shocker to us all. And, as a wrestling fan, I'm going to miss him, And it's going to be really weird not seeing Hulk Hogan around no more. It's really going to be really weird. That's all I'm going to say on that matter. And then we just found out this past Monday, Ryan Sandberg passed away. Man, it's like, jeepers, what's going on here, And it's like, wow. one of the best Cubs players ever. One of the best baseball players without having to win winning a World Series. That I feel bad for all these great ball players that have not got a World Series ring on their finger, like Ryan Sandberg. I believe Cal Ripken won his when he was a rookie with the Orioles. And how about Ken Griffey Jr.? The guy has not won a World Series ring. He's one of the best. Will Clark hasn't won a World Series ring. Some of these players I feel bad for that played their hearts out in a great game of baseball and not get a World Series ring on their finger. I could mention so many good players. Not just Red Sox players, but some great players that have not won a World Series ring. Like I said, I mentioned Will Clark. I mentioned Ken Griffey Jr. Ryan Sandberg was another. I think Mark Grace won his with the Diamondbacks when that's what I want to do. I want to try to compile a list of the greatest baseball players without having to win a World Series. And that's going to be a tough list to do. A tough list. That's a challenge. I'm going to challenge myself to do that. I know Romy has helped me with some lists. I helped out Romy with some lists before about baseball players. Maybe that's what we should do. Name top 20 or top 30 baseball players without, or even top 10 ball players without winning a World Series ring. That's a tough challenge. A challenge I'll be more than willing to accept. Wow. So we got that. Let's see. What else is there? I just called my brother. I want to wish Tyler, a.k.a. Trevor, happy birthday again, brother. I know I wished you a happy birthday yesterday, and I called up. We caught up, which is great. So I praise God for that. And me and my sister have a new refrigerator to use now, which is really, really cool. And I'm very, very happy about that. And very happy, satisfied, and all that good stuff. I put a smile on my face, and yay me, So now we got one more work day, and then it's going to be Portuguese Feast coming this weekend. I'm hoping we're going to have a good time. Hoping to have a good time. I'm not going to be there long, obviously, because SummerSlam's coming this weekend as well. I want us to come back here, live react with all my friends. I'm probably going to leave the Portuguese Feast a little earlier, so I can just stop by, get a pizza, and just sit down and just get a pizza, and then sit down and enjoy SummerSlam, because SummerSlam starts at 6 and all that good stuff. So we'll see what happens, huh? I'm having so much fun. Plus, I'm looking forward to the Rant and Rave episode tonight. My return to Rant and Rave. I'm really excited. We got lots to talk about, obviously. Hulk Hogan's death. I know we didn't go... I know Brandon joined. Did not go way in depth of that, but we did talk about it on a few streams here and there. But I'm sure we'll probably really sit down and really talk about it. I'm hoping to do that. I'm also, we got to talk about Bash of the Beach 2000 is going to hit a little differently than it is, because that's probably was Hulk Hogan's last event in WCW, basically. And so you got that. Also, we had to go over SummerSlam picks and predictions. I made my picks and predictions. I will do that not only on Rant and Rave, but I will do that on the final SmackDown before SummerSlam. So lots to do this weekend. A lot of ground to cover. A lot of things on my plate. We'll see what happens. We end July. We start beginning of August, and July's been a decent month overall. Like I said, it's been a decent month. Like I said, despite the celebrity deaths, it's been a decent month, and I'm hoping to get going with August and see final full month of the summer before we put away our shorts and shorts and swimsuits and all that, and exchange them for and t-shirts, exchange them for sweatshirts and jeans, and transform the ACs into heaters, ladies and gentlemen. So that's it. That's all there is to it. So that's all the time we have on the show. Thank you for tuning in. I'm hoping to see you all again for another episode of the show. And like I said, we got Collision tonight, AEW Collision tonight. We got TNA tonight as well. I'm doing Rant and Rave, so I'm going to be multitasking as usual because I got to cover for this show as well. It'll be a lot of fun. And like I said, I have a warning. I have a warning. And this is the warning. It goes a little something like this. When I go on Rant and Rave tonight, or go on Jordy's stream tomorrow, or the live reactions of SummerSlam, if anybody disrespects me, I will. I don't care who's on the panel. I don't care if Romy's on the panel or anybody. Whoever disrespects me, I will spoil. Happy to. I will spoil it. I don't care. I watched it. I'm going to have to watch it again just in case. But I will spoil Happy Gilmore too. Try me. Try me. I'm dead serious. I want to get back at people. I figured, I don't want to call people names. That doesn't work. I want to do something that cool. If people do something and say something that annoys me to them. If I hear race car beds, lima bean jokes, if I see it in the live chats, I will spoil Happy Gilmore 2. I don't care if you've seen it or have not seen it. I will talk about Happy Gilmore 2. Trust me, you don't want to. So, but other than that, I'm gonna have some fun. It's all about do fun and all that. So I will see you guys later. You guys have a wonderful, blessed day. See you guys tonight on Rant and Rave, episode 303. I make my return. We're gonna have a little bit of fun. So, until next episode comes rolling around, Mr. Announcer, please take us home. That is all for today's episode of the show. This is Mr. Announcer speaking for Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. A Big Beefy E and Dorf of Bob Saget production, and in association with a Raving Bull for 3000 Telepictures and Distribution. Thank you for watching another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. See you later on the next episode of the show. Goodbye for now.